And as a
Right.
human being, I make mistakes. As a human being, I am selfish. As a human being, I have desires and
Here.
There are no chances.
No
God
chance?
God is good.
None at all?
No,
Did he-
we're moving on to better lives.
Neil's ex-wife Crystal just dropped a major bomb on us, exposing Neil for mistreating her when they were married. In case we all missed it, Dainty Kane singer Dawn Richards recently came out to expose Diddy in a new lawsuit, where she spilled some shocking tea about Diddy's behavior. In a shocking twist of events, Dawn named Neo as one of the people who allegedly sat by and watched Diddy mistreat people and did nothing, implying that Neo was complicit in a lot of Diddy's crimes. Well, not only is Crystal, Neo's ex-wife, backing Dawn, but she also claims that Neo allegedly did some shady and nasty things to her when they were married, and he might have learned it from Diddy. Crystal pulled up on Neo and she dropped some wild tea. Well, if there's one person who knows how nasty Neo can be, it's his ex-wife Crystal. Even with this new lawsuit from Dawn, we already know that Neo wasn't the best husband to Crystal, because allegedly, he did her dirty. Their marriage had been on the rocks for a long time because of alleged mistreatment from Neo, but it eventually broke down when he had an outside baby on her. The outside baby was first revealed by a blind item. According to an anonymous source, the iconic R&B singer who reconciled with his wife during quarantine actually fathered a child with an exotic dancer in Atlanta. He welcomed a third baby with his wife around the same time as the dancer. It's interesting since he was on talk shows talking about reconciling with his wife around the same time I was hearing about this. Well, this was the final straw for Crystal, and she wrote, 8 years of lies and deception. 8 years of unknowingly sharing my life and my husband with numerous women who sell their bodies to him unprotected. To say I'm heartbroken and disgusted is an understatement. I ask that you all please stop sending me videos or information of him cheating because what he does is no longer my concern. I'm choosing to stand tall with my head held high with no hate in my heart. I wish him nothing but the best. When they start typing in that notes app, you know it's something real. But anyways, Neil made it clear that he wasn't taking Crystal's pain seriously when he liked her statement calling him out and exposing him. Like, what kind of villain does that? He then released a statement of his own on Twitter, saying, "For the sake of my children, my family and I will work through our challenges behind closed doors. Personal matters are not meant to be addressed and dissected in public forums. I simply ask that you please respect me and my family's privacy at this time." Obviously, with that little like and release statement, he felt no remorse for his actions because he went on a podcast and claimed that he was only human.
And as a human being, I make mistakes. As a human being, I am selfish. As a human being, I have desires, and you know what I'm saying? I wasn't always being the kind of husband that you're supposed to be. That's just is what that is. You know, I've cheated. I've done things that husbands ain't supposed to do. And that's what eventually led to us talking about divorce.
Wow. And then getting to the point where you're renewing your vows.
Yes.
Crystal, what are the chances you and Neo can work it out here?
There are no chances.
No
God
chance?
God is good.
None at all?
No,
Did he-
we're moving on to better lives.
Did he just go to a point where there's no coming back?
Certain things can be forgiven, but God will forgive. And
Allegedly, putting hands on her and cheating on her wasn't bad enough. He decided to take her to court to get a gag order on her that prevented her from speaking about their marriage and divorce. According to the court documents, the petitioner posted a lengthy and explicit message to her personal Instagram page, accusing him of being a narcissist and subjecting her to 8 years of lies and deception. The reckless and distasteful acts of the petitioner have caused direct financial injury to the respondent. To date, the respondent has lost approximately $400,000 in wages associated with public appearances, professional bookings, and promotional efforts. He also refused to pay her alimony, even though he forced her to be a stay-at-home mom to take care of their kids. At the time, we found it weird that he would get a gag order from the court over a divorce when all she did was announce the end of their marriage. Well, NDAs are kind of standard in celebrity divorces, but going as far as to get a court-ordered gag kind of made it clear that there was more going on than we knew. We already knew that he had cheated on her, so whatever the secret was that he was trying to hide, we knew it had to be something extra nasty. But it looks like we found the real reason behind the divorce, and the secrets in the streets are saying that it was allegedly because of DV. Why all? That's nasty as F. And if it's true, we got to send love to Crystal for escaping the situation. But if you're wondering why she's coming out with her story now, it's because Ne-Yo recently got named in Don Richards' lawsuit against Diddy. Don's lawsuit exposed some real nasty stuff about Diddy and how he treats the women around him. She also backed up Little Rod's claims about how Diddy had some young girls partying in the studio using some illegal substances often while they were recording in the studio. Mr. Combs would hold parties where he would invite young men and women who were often scantily dressed and appeared underage to use drugs and engage in acts. Miss Richard observed Mr. Combs and his colleagues groping and inappropriately touching the young women. Upon information and belief, the participants often left the immediate area to have intercourse and returned shortly thereafter. On one occasion, when she tried to stand up for herself, Diddy punished her by locking her in an unheated car in the dead of winter. The court document said Miss Richard screamed as loudly as she could, but no one responded. It was a late evening in the wintertime, the windows were heavily tinted, and the interior of the car was dark except for faint interior lights. Miss Richard's belongings and winter coat were in the studio while the ignition was off, and there was no heat. With Mr. Combs' prior threats and violence running through her mind, Miss Richard felt sheer panic, terror, and feelings of claustrophobia at being locked in a small, dark, enclosed space with no way to communicate or call for help. She began to feel cold and feared for her life, not knowing when or if she would be released. She added that Diddy subjected the Dainty Kane girls to inhumane treatment, forcing them to rehearse for up to 48 hours without taking breaks. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs would regularly be awake for prolonged periods of time because he was high. During these periods, Mr. Combs demanded continuous access to Miss Richard and her Dainty Kane bandmates, often forcing them to record and rehearse for stretches of 36 to 48 hours without breaks. She also claimed that he would use demeaning words on her in front of his bodyguards. Between approximately 2009 and 2011, throughout Diddy Dirty Money's recording process, rehearsals and performances, Mr. Combs repeatedly ordered Miss Richard to strip down to her underwear. He frequently referred to her as a bee or a wubbo and made demeaning remarks about her body, alternatingly calling her lazy, fat, ugly, and skinny, particularly in front of his friends, producers, and bodyguards. That's just plain sad and horrible. But the wild part here is that a lot of people, including Neil, saw it happen and allegedly never tried to do or say anything. It kind of reminds me of Cassie's claims that multiple people in the industry knew what was going on and never tried to help her. Speaking of Cassie, Don also revealed that Diddy once punched Cassie in front of Ne-Yo, but he ignored the situation and just kept eating. The court documents said Combs hosted a dinner at a West Hollywood, California restaurant, which Miss Richard and Miss Harper were required to attend. Among the guests at the dinner were celebrities like Ne-Yo and Usher, as well as Mr. Levine. At the dinner, Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura had an argument in front of the dinner guests. Mr. Combs hissed at Miss Ventura in a screaming whisper and forcibly punched her in the stomach, causing her to double over in visible pain, crying. Miss Clark escorted Miss Ventura out of the restaurant, and Mr. Combs remained and continued socializing with the dinner guests. Why all? What kind of casual DV is this? Now, some people were speculating that Ne-Yo could have also been scared of Diddy and couldn't speak out, but according to an insider, Crystal is insisting that's not the case. The insider revealed that Crystal believes that the reason Ne-Yo didn't say or do anything is that he didn't see it as a big deal because he allegedly also puts hands on women and gets away with it. She sees this as a case of birds of a feather flocking together, and allegedly, she can't wait for Ne-Yo to be outed as well. Well, the fans have been all over it, leaving comments saying F Usher and Ne-Yo too for not doing anything when Diddy hurt Cassie in front of them. Cowards. Usher and Ne-Yo sat there and watched Diddy punch Cassie and did nothing. Sick individuals. I like how the internet is ignoring the fact that Usher was name-dropped in the Diddy lawsuit. Him and Neil sat right there and ate their food while Diddy beat the ish out of Cassie. Crazy. So, allegedly Diddy punched Cassie in her stomach at a dinner in front of Ne-Yo, Usher, and Jimmy Levine, and they just kept eating. Why all? I got to know what you feel about this. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and then check out this next video.